I guess that's the choice that we all have to make. How are we going to go into business in a way that no matter what happens, we have the opportunity to express some truth and demonstrate that truth? I wanted to finish with the words of Gandhi. He always said, we must be the change we want to see in the world. This is being a leader is not telling other people what to do. Being a leader is being an example so that I live my life instead of preaching what I think others should do. And I think the question for us is to say, what is it that we stand for? Each one of us. And what does this university stand for? As an example to the business world, to say it's possible to see business as an expression of human values as opposed to a destruction of human values. It's possible to see business as a conscious activity as opposed to an unconscious activity.
I guess that what I would like is to add to the question that Professor Kaysen did, in terms of, he asked of a leader who failed, and how did that feel? And I would like to bring to the discussion the case of Roberto Goizueta, who was the CEO of Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola company. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest failures that in business history have happened is when they took the decision to launch New Coke. I think it was in 1990, maybe, or 1988, somewhere there. And the market responded very negatively to the New Coke concept. And I guess that Goizueta was this amazing leader, and with that huge failure, he dealt with it very forcefully and upfront, and decided to be the player, instead of just receiving and being the victim of why did the market didn't accept this great idea that we had and all the money that we put into it. Quite on the contrary, they said, okay, we failed. He acknowledged the failure publicly, and he leveraged the market and said, we heard you, and we are going back to give you what you always have liked that we give you, which is the classic Coke, and hence you have now the huge success of classic Coke. So I think that could be a...
Yeah, it's a beautiful example. Thank you.
I know that most of your presentation is really addressing entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, but I hear really a very sophisticated pedagogy coming through. Could you maybe say a few words about how, to those of us who are in the business of educating, how do you take these principles? How do we turn the anxiety of our students in the direction that you suggest?
Well, I rarely work with entrepreneurs. I mostly work with senior managers of large corporations. And they face a lot of anxiety. I mean, in a way, they are responsible, and they feel responsible for themselves, but also for a lot of people that, if they make mistakes, are going to suffer. So there's I think the pedagogy comes from my own experience in my life of all the fears that I had. Particularly, I guess a very significant event for me was I always wanted to be a professor, and I got to be a professor in MIT. And it's like, I'm an MIT professor. So it was, my business card said Fred Kaufman in 6-point font and MIT professor in 96-point font. Okay? MIT was this big. So Fred Kaufman was just an appendix to the MIT professor. I was defining. And then I was there and I said, I don't like it. It's not that way of teaching, the pedagogy of presenting material and telling people what the truth is. It was debilitating. I couldn't connect with that spirit. I always thought teaching is really inviting the other person to grow, not telling them how they have to be. And I guess I started trying to develop something different. How do you invite other people to grow? And I guess the biggest challenge that I faced is accepting that some people will not take that invitation. I mean, that's the risk. The true invitation is much more dangerous, because if I know what I'm going to teach, then I teach it, and I know I'll succeed because I'm going to present the material come hell or high water. I mean, that's the typical thing. But making an invitation, whenever you extend your hand, you might get declined. And it took me many years to feel the confidence to get declined. I have to confess that the fact that I had quite a bit of success, in a way, allowed me, give me some shelter. So, if someone says, well, that's bullshit or it's crazy, like, well, okay, at least, I fooled some of the smartest people in the world for 20 years, then if this is crazy. So, but I say this to say it's not so heroic. I had a lot of help in making an invitation and not feeling so anxious. If I had started with some failures, I would have been tested much more severely. But I guess that's the pedagogy. And I tell people, I don't teach. I'm going to offer you something, and then you have to choose, is it helpful or not? And if it is, you take it. And if you grow from it, it's your credit. I don't want any credit. If you don't like it and you don't learn from it, that's okay. I won't take the blame either. I'm doing my best in offering. So I think it comes from there, just the absolute, I don't know how to say it, it's the most exciting thing for me to see someone's eyes light up. But they never light up when I tell them something. They only light up when they discover something. So allowing people to discover what's true for them, and when they experience that, they want to do that with their people. So it's I guess that pedagogically, that would be the principle of enabling others. This ultimately is agape. It's this idea of I want to see people grow. I don't know how else to say it. Thank you very much.